Welcome, everyone, to the Enemies of the Fire podcast. This is a special little emergency talk yet again about the U.S. men's national team head coaching position. I am FC Neo Tokyo. That is James, and we're here to talk about what is disturbingly becoming a two-horse race between Patrick Vieira and Thierry Henry. James, how are you feeling?
I think it's an interesting conversation, and I wonder if the Patrick Vieira deal might already be done. And they might have just floated out Thierry Henry's name there to maybe offer a nice little comparison, a nice little hors d'oeuvre, right? You know, a little crudité at the beginning of the meals. But in comes the real coach, Patrick Vieira. When I ran the numbers were starkly different. But there's also one more thing at play. We're getting a live audition here with Thierry Henry with the France team at the Olympics. We do get to be able to watch some of his more recent results. We'll see how that goes. He is a international club manager, so it might be a little hard to judge, but when you look at Patrick Vieira's stats, he's got lots of success in MLS and other leagues as well, versus Thierry Henry, who also coached MLS and did not really have the same amount of success, is now coaching France. And so you have, meanwhile, Vieira was coaching a team in French League 1, and just got let go, probably because of some dalliances he's having with the U.S. men's national team. And that's what makes me speculate. He might already have some sort of handshake agreement for the job, and then another reporter says, "Oh, let's take a look at Thierry Henry and maybe hold the horses on that, and we'll see what's going on." Because these are two of the guys, big names that have thrown their name in the hat, amongst others, like the head coach of Spain, the current head coach of Spain, who just won Euros. He apparently threw his name in the hat too. So there's some names out there that are interested.
It really feels like they're narrowing in on Vieira, which I'm still pretty nervous. His numbers are okay, but it's still not what we really wanted. It just feels like we said we want European, and he's like, "Oh, this guy, he's gettable." It's like, no, we meant good. And Thierry Henry has been an abject failure anywhere he's been, to be honest. Like, great player, great commentator. He just has been terrible coach, and I'm terrified that he's going to get the job. But really, I feel like that's him being like, "I want this job," like how Alexi Lawless has been saying, "I'll coach it for free." It's like, yeah, of course you will. You fucking suck. Like, get out of here, man. I really feel like that's the Thierry Henry thing.
We don't need Alexi coaching. I appreciate Alexi's punditry, but we definitely don't need Alexi coaching.
I don't even appreciate that. I just feel like Thierry Henry is really milking the whole connection with MLS, having been played there and a coach, and albeit unsuccessfully. I mean, he almost got Monaco with deep pockets relegated. It just smells of a guy who's like, "See, don't I make sense?" It's like, not really, man. You're not the step forward we're looking for. And you brought up the Olympics, and it's hard for me not to believe that he has such a stacked team that it'll be hard to really, people were fooled to think Jurgen Klinsmann was a good coach because Germany got third in a World Cup when we all found out. Well,
looking at the underlying numbers here on the screen, you do see that Patrick Vieira has a lot of points per match. He's in the 1.2s to 1.5 on average. Did well with New York City. Did well with Man City's academy. Did well with OG Nice. Did well enough with Crystal Palace.
OG Nice.
OGC Nice. OGC Nice.
God.
And was doing really well at Strasbourg here, and then got let go out of the blue. Meanwhile, you look at Thierry Henry's track record, and you see that Arsenal, nothing you can really tell there. Belgium, nothing you can really tell there. Monaco, he put up 0.95 points per game. Meanwhile, at Montreal, he put up just over 1.07. So clearly not as good in MLS or in Ligue 1 as Patrick Vieira is. However, coaching the international game is just a completely different animal. The tactics needed for teams that are coming together once in a blue moon to play together, and we were talking this before the stream, where we're looking at some of the MLS games of the past where MLS teams had to go against teams like Manchester United and Chelsea and Atletico Madrid, and usually, more often than not, unless they had a good coaching combination like Piotr Nowak at the helm or someone else, beating Jose Mourinho in the 2006 MLS Cup, unless they had something happening like that, usually they were just getting bombarded and trashed by these better European club teams that had been playing together for so long versus the hodgepodge of MLS All-Stars that was getting thrown at them. So so we're watching on the side here the Liga MX All-Star game versus MLS, and it's so much more fun because, as you said, Toke, before that we started, it's a group of guys versus a group of guys rather than just a group of guys thrown against a team that's, they know exactly where the third pass is going with their eyes closed.
Right. Well, and this should never be. We should never take this game into account when judging. What's his face? Wilfred Nancy. Right. Like, this is just one of those, like you said, hodgepodge groups of guys, and I don't know. But
that's what makes it very judgeable for Wilfred Nancy. This is actually this is also a good showcase for Wilfred Nancy's skills, because I see the opposite.
A correlation.
Yeah,
you see a correlation between national team and an all-star team, because again, you're stuck with who you're stuck with.
Yeah, you're stuck with the best of a group of the best soccer players from their teams coming to you, right? And you got to make them all work, and they all play different styles, different tactics. They've all had different coaches at different parts of their careers that say, oh, you should be here and here and here. They have so many different ideas in their brain. So you need a guy who can coalesce can get those players to coalesce one singular idea and an identity and win games with that.
Well, I mean, it's looking like Patrick Vieira. Do you think Patrick Vieira can do that?
Yes. Based upon what he's done at club, I think he could do it. But international, he doesn't have the same time that he has at the club level to develop with these guys, to develop what he's done. So that's where a guy like Thierry Henry, and seeing what he's going to do in these U.S. Olympic tournaments, it's going to be interesting. You see what he does. Maybe he has a lot of success with France. He's got 3 studly players. Lacazette is one of them. He's pretty decent.
Well, I mean, did he today prove anything?
That's my question.
Like, beating the U.S. 3-0.
You watched the game. I thought the score was 1-0.
No, they lost 3-0, my man.
So Thierry Henry beat the U.S. squad 3-0 today, with the exact same handicapped rules as the U.S. men's team. U.S. men's team could have brought player on Lacazette's skill, except they don't have one.
I would.
They don't have a striker.
I would disagree.
They don't have a striker on Lacazette's skill. Balogun does not have Lacazette's skill to be playing for Arsenal.
You could play Christian Pulisic at striker, and he'd be better than Lacazette.
Yes, well, Pulisic is the one exception to the rule.
The one exception. Yeah, I feel you.
And he's more of a winger as we've become.
I feel like France just won because they were more talented. Mm-hmm. I don't think the win had anything to do with what Thierry Henry decided to do.
Really?
Because
they scored 3 goals. So how did those 3 goals come about? Were they pretty? Were they garbage? Were they gritty?
No. The first one was a dagger to the heart, right? And then all of a sudden, the U.S., instead of taking that as a dagger, started pressing so hard and hit the post twice, and then boom, got hit for a second one. So it was over at that point. They were checked out, and then boom, the third one comes. So that it was overexposure by the U.S. getting hit on the counter on the second one. Like the first one was like it broke the stalemate. The U.S. hit the post before that goal too. It was just it was hard to say that they were terrible, but they were unlucky type of thing. But I still, again, I would say for sure it was more France had more talent than Thierry Henry did anything.
Well, Marko Mitrovic was the coach for USA, I believe, today. How did he do? How did you feel he did with his?
It's Greg Berhalter tactics still. They had practiced that so much they couldn't switch course. So it's Berhalter ball. So it was
my
like,
gosh, how did that guy screw that up?
as we said, we're watching MLS Cup as we speak.
Wow.
Or MLS All-Stars. You said it earlier and I said it. Anyway, I know we're a little off the rails here. We just kind of wanted to do a fun little emergency podcast episode. I'm not a huge Patrick Vieira fan. James got me a little bit more on board with it today. I'm
Only
still
the
in the
statistic wise, right? I agree with you.
Right.
I'm still pressing X for doubt. Can we get someone better here? Can we bring in a Pochettino? Is he actually achievable?
I want Pochettino.
People keep saying Gareth Southgate. I think that's a pipe dream, but no, I would take Gareth Southgate.
That's Greg Berhalter with an accent, dude. Like it's the same thing.
He's proven on the international level to at least make the finals twice in a row.
Southgate, dude. I'm gonna say something that might get me punched. I think England has more talent than Spain. I think England has more talent than maybe even Argentina. I think England's got one of the. It'd probably be beside France. I think besides France, England has the most collection of talent on the planet at this moment, and Gareth Southgate has them playing extremely mediocre.
It's just such defensive football. You're absolutely right. So maybe he is the one who bottled it, not just this Liga MX striker who I just saw just missed the open shot.
It's an all-star game, man. They're having fun anyway.
But Gareth Southgate really did disappoint. I feel you, and some English people were like, yeah, I guess they're okay with losing or something, but they're like, yeah, he's the best man for the job now, wasn't he? I'm like,
see, I think there's a whole it's like I always say, everybody talks about how the 2022 World Cup was the same for the US, and I want to shake them. Because it wasn't the same. That team played better. It was better play on the field and then 2010, then 2014. And they just got the same results. Now, you want to marry those two things, but how you get better results than you've ever gotten before is playing better than you've ever played before.
Well,
with England during the Euros...
You're saying Greg Berhalter 1.0 was better than Greg Berhalter 2.0?
Oh, by 100,000 percentile.
The team looked better under Greg Berhalter 1.0.
It did, but I'll say this: if you take that same logic and look at England, there's a way that England had the exact same Euros score wise, but everybody's excited because they played hard, they played well, and they just quote unquote lost a chess game in the last game, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A chess match, right? They just lost the chess match. That's not what happened. They didn't look good, but they squeaked it out, and they squeaked it out, and they squeaked it out, and then they never really looked the better in the final. That's a whole different storyline.
Like they're defensively, they were fine, but that was their MO. Like they had playing so defensive. Harry Kane didn't do much. Cole Palmer not getting enough minutes.
Well, maybe. They do have the best 5 right backs in the world.
Cole Palmer striker.
No.
Cole Palmer's the striker behind Harry Kane. He came out and he did some damage right away.
I always want to call him Ollie. Ollie Wilkes or whatever. Right? Or do I have his first name wrong?
Ollie, but yeah, Ollie something.
But Wilkes came in and then they even had Tooney on there as well. Gareth Southgate scares the bejesus out of me. The fact that we missed For me, the fact that we missed out on Mourinho and Pep doesn't want to start until next year, or not Pep. Klopp. Klopp doesn't want to jump.
You wait for Klopp if Klopp says wait.
Yeah, but I don't think Matt Crocker feels the same way you do.
Fuck Matt Crocker.
Oh, anyway, I'll say this.
Pardon my French.
So now that Klopp and Jose are off the table. My number 1 is Pochettino, worst case Mazzarazzo, and then everything else is kind of just a letdown, in my opinion. Vieira is okay. Like, that's just a letdown. So, well, that's our cue. DPG has joined us, so that means we're going to start the other episode. Like, subscribe, kick that, punt that, all that like button. Look at that. He makes an appearance, baby. We have been Enemies of the Fire. We'll look out for all our episodes, man. We're on the internet. We're everywhere. You can find us. So yet again, for FC Neo Tokyo, for James, for DPG now, y'all have a good night. And hopefully we sign a good coach. Peace.